Part 129. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1281. Start checking now, don't resist. Lin Lindsay and the other two nodded quickly. Taiwan Novel Network rightward arrow dot. Lin Lindsay said in Lin Yi's ear, this is a necessary step to enter, don't resist, and don't use your strength. Lin Yi nodded, understood. The two men were holding a strange tool, a green jade bell, and a jade pestle. One of them came in front of them and rang the jade bell in front of each of them. Dang! A sound wave full of echoes instantly exploded in Lin Yi's ears. He felt a mysterious green light wave rushing into his body, and the internal and external circulation seemed to be searching for something. After about a few seconds, this mysterious power slowly disappeared. He could feel that this power was also a true life-level power. After the inspection, the two men in black waved their hands impatiently, go in. The four of them entered the empty cave. Lin Lindsay found a corner and sat there. Lin Yi looked around. The cave was not big, and there were only a dozen people including them. Lin Yi looked at Lin Lindsay strangely, are we hiding here? There seems to be no difference between here and outside, right? Mingminger smiled, you only saw the surface. The cave is covered with spiritual patterns all around, and they form a cycle with each other, which can block all kinds of dangerous explorations. Lin Yi frowned slightly when he heard this, and the light of the true destiny solution flashed in his eyes. He found that his eyes did not seem to see the spiritual patterns on these rock walls, and he was thinking about it. The operation of the true destiny solution quickly increased several times, and nearly half of the true power was consumed in an instant. Until then, he glimpsed a trace of the spiritual pattern. He was slightly startled in his heart, this spiritual pattern constructs something similar to a formation. Is it so high level? I consumed nearly half of the true power and only saw its traces. This death boundary looks very strange. The final order system in his mind slowly sounded. Binder, please note that you have entered an unknown safe place. Please try to collect information about the death boundary. This will greatly help your chances of survival in the death boundary. Hearing the system's requirements, Lin Yi pursed his lips, don't I know? Looking at Mingming Er on the side, Miss Mingming Er, I just came here and I don't know anything. I wonder if you can give me some information about this place. Mingming Er smiled and said, of course, no problem. This is an unknown world, and we don't know why we are here. The only thing we know is that this world is full of coffins, and once people die, they will be put into coffins. Then they will be resurrected, and the resurrected people will have problems. Problems? What do you mean? Mingming Er's eyes showed a trace of fear, they will become monsters and hunt us down. The reason we hide here is to avoid being hunted by these monsters. The place we are in now was built for us by an organization called the Holy Light Society. No one here has ever died. The Holy Light Society will regularly select capable people to become true disciples and then leave here. After we come here, in order to survive, we need to complete the tasks assigned by the Holy Light Society in order to exchange for various survival supplies and methods to increase our strength. Methods to increase strength. Can you still increase your strength? Lin Yi looked at them in confusion. Once the true destiny is formed, if you want to improve it, you can only break it up and rebuild it, and you need to have enough eternal properties. Mingming smiled and nodded, of course it can be improved. The minimum standard for becoming a disciple is that you must have a true destiny composed of 81 eternal properties. We work hard to exchange for supplies, and the most important thing among them is the spirit pattern system. Spirit patterns can be used to deduce and reconstruct true destiny. Some people speculate that each spirit pattern is a kind of eternal nature information. I don't know who has constructed spirit patterns with eternal nature information through some method. As long as you learn enough spiritual patterns and master the secrets of creating spiritual pattern items, You can try to use spiritual patterns to reconstruct your true destiny in your mind. If we can construct 81 eternal true destinies, we will have a chance to escape from our current situation. Lin Yi was thoughtful when he heard this: spiritual patterns, improve true destiny, join the Holy Light Society. This world seems to have strange organizations. Lin Yi pretended to be enlightened, so that's how it is. It's really amazing. Mingming Er's face was a little gloomy. The three of us have been here for a long time, and we have also learned spiritual patterns, but we have no idea how to rebuild a new true destiny. This road is not easy. Now we can only ensure our own survival. We can exchange a lot of materials here. In addition to daily consumption, there are also things that can prolong life. We have condensed our true destiny, and our consciousness will hardly die. The body is just a tool that can be replaced. This is the case in the original world. But after this world, once our bodies die, our spirits and true lives will soon vanish as well. People who come back to life may not have any problems in the short term, but they may turn into monsters at any time. So in order not to turn into monsters, each of us will do our best to prolong the life of our bodies. Hearing this, Lin Yi seemed to be thinking about something, and a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. Will those mysterious creatures occupy your body after death? Become a tool in their hands? Will you join that endless war? The more Lin Yi heard, the more he felt that this world was full of contradictions and unknowns. When we teleported just now, I seemed to see coffins everywhere. Fellow Daoist Mingminger, do you know why? When Mingminger heard Lin Yi's words, his face changed slightly, revealing a trace of unnaturalness. We don't know what's going on there either. But we won't get close to it unless necessary, because all the coffins are filled with monsters. Some of them may behave normally after resurrection, but one day they may suddenly turn into monsters. We call them the living dead. Lin Yi was thoughtful after hearing this, the living dead. Just then, a bright light suddenly lit up in the cave. Everyone showed a hint of surprise on their faces. Lin Yi's eyes followed the eyes of the crowd and looked at the source of the light, which was a pure white door. The door slowly opened, and a man in a white robe walked out. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1282. The white-robed man was covered with a veil, and no one could see his true face. Only the part above the eyes could be seen. Read. The white-robed man should be a woman, with a graceful figure, picturesque eyebrows and eyes, and a simple temperament that made her look very beautiful. Mingminger showed a trace of joy in her eyes. It turned out that it was the Saint Ji who came this time. The Lord is the most kind. It seems that we can get a lot of good things. All the people who stayed in this cave stood up, and walked towards the location of the light gate with joy on their faces. They came around the Saint Ji and looked at her respectfully, as if waiting for something. Lin Yi's eyes flashed with the light of the true destiny. He hid behind everyone and slightly observed the mysterious Saint Ji and the light gate behind her. He found that there were 3 true destinies flashing in this person's body, and each of them had at least reached the level of 81 eternal properties. The most peculiar thing was that he vaguely felt that these 3 true destinies had common characteristics and the true power generated was exactly the same. He immediately thought of the 7 true destinies in the Yiling Jing, which formed a system. It seems that someone in this death boundary is purposefully creating a true destiny system. A sense of wonder rose in his heart. Is there an existence in this world that has cultivated the true destiny system to perfection? Real eternity, without any restrictions. If someone has completed it, where are they? What are they doing? Is there such an existence in this holy light? Maybe the perfect true destiny system is not a secret in their eyes. The so-called 7 true kings who construct the final order system exist. Are they here? The system seems to be unclear about the death boundary and comes here to collect information. Logically speaking, the creator of the system did not enter here, but collected information through me. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind in an instant. The sky was overcast, and he felt as if he was shrouded in countless dark curtains. An inexplicable anger arose from the bottom of his heart. No matter who you are, don't try to control me. I will definitely get rid of the control of all of you and get the eternity you long for. Feeling that his consciousness has been completely integrated into the new second set of true life cycle, he breathed a sigh of relief. This is his real foundation and confidence. Lin Yi secretly observed Sheng Ji. He didn't dare to look too much, because he was afraid that these people would notice. If he caused any more trouble, it would be difficult to deal with. At this time, the mysterious woman seemed to notice his existence. Hey, is there a newcomer this time? Lin Linzi showed a smile on his face. Yes, Lord Shengji, this fellow Taoist is someone I met in the endless desert. It has been tested and he has never died. The woman shrouded in glory nodded slightly. Very good, the holy light will need a constant supply of fresh blood so that everyone can survive and live better. In the face of the monster's pursuit, we must unite and help everyone who can help. After expressing her feelings and chicken blood, the woman looked at everyone. The exchange starts now, one by one. At this time, everyone's face was smiling. Lin Linzi took the lead and took out a piece of mysterious metal from his hand. The metal looked ordinary, nothing special, but everyone who saw it showed a little surprise in their eyes. Li Sha gold, you actually found such a big piece. Lin Linzi's face showed a little pride. This is what Ming Minger, Nan Qizi, and I found together. Sheng Ji nodded slightly. Li Sha gold is a very good thing. What do you want to exchange? I want to exchange a spiritual pattern device for hiding. Sheng Ji nodded slightly. Okay. As she said, she reached into her left sleeve with her right hand and took out a metal token. This treasure is called the Invisibility Order. It has 49 spiritual patterns on it, and it is constructed based on a true destiny that is good at invisibility. However, due to the difference in true power, the effect of this true destiny fluctuates between 70% and 80%. Can you accept it? Lin Linzi smiled. No problem at all. I like this thing very much. The two quickly exchanged items. Sheng Ji looked at Lin Linzi. Do you want to exchange anything else? Lin Linzi nodded naturally. Of course, I still have a small piece of nightmare stone here. I want to exchange survival supplies for a while. Sheng Ji took a piece of dreamlike stone from Lin Linzi. Then she had a box in her hand, and there was a spiritual pattern covering the box. Lin Yi's eyes immediately saw through the contents of the box, which contained a lot of drinking water, food, and things like elixirs. Seeing this scene, Lin Yi immediately realized the problem. It seemed that people in this world had a very difficult time surviving. Even the most basic supplies have to be exchanged, which means that their survival base is completely controlled by others. And the one who controls it is this mysterious Holy Light Society, which seems to be unfathomable. He took a deep breath, and a trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes. People came out one after another and exchanged various things with Saint Ji. Among them, spiritual pattern tools and survival supplies were the most exchanged. Although Saint Ji did not receive many items in the end, a kind of ecological chain had appeared in Lin Yi's eyes. It seems that the people in the border of death are not doing well. They are probably top figures in their own world, but they have become workers here. This holy light will spare no effort to collect various items, obviously for a purpose. Looking at their posture, they should have collected a lot of information and things. If you want to get in touch with deeper things, maybe you need to go through them. Lin Yi was thoughtful. He planned to slowly integrate into this group and find the secrets of this world. This time, he didn't have anything to exchange, so he could only watch from the side. After everyone exchanged items, Saint Ji looked at them. Everyone, this exchange ends here, and the next exchange will be after the 15th. I look forward to you joining the Holy Light group as soon as possible. Everyone nodded to Saint Ji. After delivering a speech, Lady Saint Ji turned around and stepped into the light gate, which then became illusory and finally disappeared. Lin Yi watched quietly, and the surroundings gradually fell into silence. Lin Lindsay and the other two came over, with a hint of smile on their faces. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1283. Fellow Daoist Lin Yi, let me ask you a question. Are you interested in forming a team with us to explore here and collect supplies? Hearing Lin Lin's invitation, Lin Yi smiled. Of course I am. I am honored that you invited me. Mingming Er, who was standing by, also smiled brightly on her beautiful face. That's great. It is difficult to survive here. The more people in the team, the clearer the division of labor, and the safer everyone will be. Since fellow Daoist Lin Yi has joined us, let's be open and honest now and get to know each other's abilities. It will be convenient to arrange our respective tasks during the subsequent exploration. Lin Yi's heart moved slightly, and a smile appeared on his face. Of course. Then the four of them began to talk in a low voice in a hidden corner of the cave. Lin Yi also learned about their approximate power characteristics. Each of the three people possesses two true power, one of which is condensed by themselves, and the other is the spiritual pattern device in their hands. For example, Lin Lindsay has a true destiny, eternity. When he uses this true destiny, no force can hurt him, and he will be in an eternal state. Even if there is a true destiny that exceeds him, he can consume 10% of the power of the true destiny to become completely immune to an attack, and no force can kill him. The second true destiny is the sword behind him, a spiritual pattern weapon, which was exchanged from the hands of the Holy Light Group. The function of this spiritual pattern weapon is very pure, and its effect is to lock the soul of the true destiny. Anyone who uses this sword can lock the mind consciousness of the target, and once the attack is launched, this force will definitely attack the opponent's mind, otherwise it will never disappear. In addition, this time he got a token, which contains the true destiny hiding, which can hide his traces and not be detected by any force. In the future, once he uses these three true destiny, they are linked together, and he will be the most perfect assassin. Nan Kizi on the side is very special. He plays more like a meat shield among the three. He has two true destiny, one is his own, called true destiny counter injury. The effect of this true destiny is that any attack that falls on him will be returned to the person who originally exerted this power. No matter what kind of attack it is, he can spend 20% of his true power to rebound it all. Even if the power of the true destiny is several times or dozens of times higher than his. At the same time, he also has a spiritual pattern tool in his hand escape. Once he uses this true destiny, he will be able to go to any place in the world. As long as he has been there, he can arrive in an instant. Of course, this is just the most superficial use. The true destiny always has various characteristics and can play a huge effect at the right time. Mingming Er on the side, she plays the role of a mage among the three people. Her own true destiny is very special, called the true destiny Xuanhuan. She can control all the power in this world and transform it into attacks and effects of any nature, and these powers will also have the nature of true destiny. The greatest nature of true destiny is that as long as the true power is enough, all rules can be ignored, and these powers controlled by her will also have this nature of ignoring everything. The second is the mysterious golden bell she controls. The effect of this golden bell is also very special, called true destiny transmission. It can transmit all the power that touches the golden bell to other places. It can even redirect the attack to the person who launched the attack, a spiritual pattern device with both offensive and defensive capabilities. A meat shield, a mage, and an assassin. Of course, This is just a general description of the direction. In fact, each of them has the ability to fight independently. But through this combination, Lin Yi keenly discovered that they are looking for companions who can complement their shortcomings. Why do I feel like playing a game? When the true destiny is too powerful, there will be quite a lot of problems. The first is that the bias is very obvious, and a certain power is developed to the extreme. Just like my true destiny, except for observing everything, it has almost no attack and defense capabilities. Then my position is to be a scout. Can I join them temporarily and find out what the death boundary is? Thinking of this, he said generously, I have two true destinies. One is the true destiny, which can observe everything in the world. The other is called the true destiny without boundaries, which allows me to ignore all visible and invisible attacks in this world. Hearing Lin Yi's words, the three were slightly surprised. What level have you reached with these two true destinies? Have you entered the realm of 81 eternal properties? Lin Yi naturally knew what they wanted to say, and shook his head slightly. How can it be so easy to build a true destiny with 81 eternal properties? Mine is a true destiny composed of 72 eternal properties. Hearing this, the three breathed a sigh of relief in their hearts and smiled a little on their faces. It's already very good to be able to condense 72 eternal destiny. And you have condensed the second destiny. The probability of the third destiny entering 81 eternal nature is very high. Please help us more in the future. Lin Linzi said jokingly. Lin Yi looked at them and smiled slightly. How can it be so easy? It's not so easy to climb to the top here. In the past, I could only do this in a world with extremely abundant conditions, and it took countless years. It's hard to say in this world now. It's even difficult to survive. Hearing Lin Yi's words, Lin Linzi and the other two sighed slightly. They have been in this mysterious world for a long time, and so far, they have not been able to condense a new true destiny. They are still in the stage of collecting spiritual patterns. Next, because of Lin Yi's joining, they began to really tell Lin Yi all kinds of things about this world. The first is how to condense true destiny, which is what all of them are learning. By selling materials, they can buy spiritual pattern information from Saint Ji, but this information can only be known by themselves and cannot be passed on to others, otherwise it will cause backlash. Every buyer must sign a special contract, which directly involves true destiny, and those who violate it will die on the spot. After death, they will be revived by some mysterious power, and at that time, they seem to no longer be themselves. And the study of spiritual patterns is something prepared by the Holy Light, with strong cohesion, which firmly ties them. In addition to the spiritual patterns, what interested Lin Yi the most were the various mysterious places they often visited. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1284. Endless Desert Land. This is one of the places they often explore. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. There are also places called Death Cave, Coffin Plain, Eternal Battlefield, etc. These areas have all kinds of special materials, as well as spiritual pattern tools and relics, etc. Listening to the various information that Lin Linzi and the others talked about, Lin Yi drew useful information from them. At this time, in his mind, the final order system was also searching for information. Attention, Binder. According to the information of people and objects that have contacted the death boundary twice. All people in the death boundary are not normal life forms, including the three in front of you. Almost all of them have been affected by some unknown existence. You need to be careful in the process of contacting them. Don't expose your abnormality, otherwise you will attract the attention of unknown existence. Lin Yi frowned slightly when he heard this. Is there anything abnormal about me? Yes, breathe. The cold voice of the final order system sounded slowly. When Lin Yi heard this, he suddenly realized it in his heart, and a trace of heaviness appeared in his eyes. Yes, I almost forgot that I always maintain the state of true destiny, and they don't have this ability. But they are still breathing. With ordinary flesh and blood, in this weird vacuum death boundary, this is really strange. An inexplicable chill slowly rose from the bottom of his heart, and Lin Yi's eyes carefully swept across the faces of the three people. There was no change on their faces, and they didn't realize that they didn't inhale any air. This world is obviously a vacuum, but their voices can be transmitted without obstacles. Everything seems so weird. Just when Lin Yi was thinking, Lin Linzi suddenly said, "This time our supplies have been purchased. Where are we going next?" Ming Ming thought for a while and said, "Didn't the Holy Light Association issue a series of tasks a few days ago? There is a set of brand new spiritual patterns as a prize in the task. Maybe we can try it?" "How many brand new spiritual patterns are there?" Nankiza showed a hint of expectation in his eyes. "There are about 49. This task is still hanging there. No one has taken it because it is dangerous." "You mean that task?" Lin Linzi's face showed a trace of solemnity, and he seemed to react. Ming Ming nodded slightly, "Yes, steal a human corpse that has just died in the eternal battlefield." Hearing this, Nankizi and Lin Linzi both took a breath of cold air. "You are crazy, this task is not so easy to complete. Stealing corpses in this world is very dangerous. If you are not careful, you may attract the attention of unknown beings. We don't have the true power to block perception. Once we are caught, we will be finished." Lin Yi listened to their exclamations and asked in confusion, "Is there something special about stealing corpses in the eternal battlefield?" Everyone nodded slightly, and Lin Linzi said, "The eternal battlefield has been there since who knows when. You can often see all kinds of long-dead lives appearing there. After they revive, they will form different camps one after another and fight each other. The bodies of the dead will sink into the ground and slowly disappear. No one knows why they fight there. But based on the information we have collected, their fighting is because they are reborn after death and are driven by some kind of power, just like puppets." Lin Yi saw the scene and a trace of thought appeared in his eyes. "Is there any problem with stealing corpses?" Ming Ming nodded slightly, "Because corpses can be resurrected constantly. Stealing corpses is not a simple matter. In the process of stealing corpses, those corpses may undergo strange changes, causing unimaginable dangers. So in this place, stealing any corpse is a huge risk." Lin Linzi answered with some fear, "Those monsters are very dangerous and terrifying. A slight mistake will bring about a catastrophe." Looking at the fearful look of everyone, Lin Yi nodded slightly and didn't say much. Ling Linger on the side said in silence, "I took it for granted, let's change the task. Or we go to the endless coffin plain. There are many coffins there. Let's look for those coffins and maybe find some burial objects. Maybe if we are lucky, we can really find something good." Hearing Ling Linger's words, Nankiza and Lin Linzi thought about it. Nankiza said, "There seem to be many new coffins appearing in the coffin plain recently. Maybe we can find some good things. But we have to be careful, after all, they are filled with some living dead. Once someone is resurrected, we must retreat immediately." The few people made a decision during the discussion. As a newcomer in the team, Lin Yi naturally said nothing. After making the decision, they did not plan to stay, but started to act directly. In this rest area, Lin Linzi took out the box he had just received. Looking at Lin Yi, he took out another box, and after opening the box, he began to distribute the various supplies inside. He put some of the supplies in another box and handed it to Lin Yi. "You just came and don't have any supplies. These things are my new benefits for you. They both have their own space boxes, which can store a lot of supplies, enough for you to use for a month." Lin Yi did not refuse and gladly accepted Lin Linzi's kindness. Although he didn't need it, he didn't want to make himself look special. "Thank you, fellow Taoist." Lin Linzi nodded and distributed the supplies to the other two. After distributing the supplies, they set off and left here. According to Lin Linzi, the rest area can only stay for a short time and is not allowed to stay here all the time. The longest time is 24 hours. There is no day and night in this world. Basically, the passage of time is measured according to a special tool. The way to measure time is to set a day as 24 hours. Almost everyone who goes out will carry these things. At this time, Lin Yi followed Lin Linzi and his team and moved quickly along a passage. Relying solely on the ability of the body to move, their movement speed is not fast, and they are not comparable to Lin Yi at all. However, they also seem to have some special things with them, that is, they used special jade to outline the spiritual patterns, and finally formed strange objects. They called these objects spiritual talismans, which could help them move in this mysterious land. These spiritual talismans were made when they were learning spiritual patterns. They consumed very little, but they had good functions. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1285. /U003C, -go-/U003 Eildhawk. These talismans have no direct combat capabilities, they are also very useful for auxiliary purposes. For example, walking, sitting, lying, flying, and even time bombs can all be made using spiritual patterns. For Lin Yi, these items are also very interesting. Spiritual patterns are not simply words, but a mysterious pattern with a three-dimensional structure. However, these patterns must be constructed using the power of truth, and then integrated into various talisman paper objects to produce some wonderful effects. However, once the power of truth is exhausted, these talismans will lose their effect and are all disposable. Lin Yi continued to use the power of the true destiny Daoji along the way, carefully observing the three people and the various spiritual pattern objects they used. He was trying to steal and bring these spiritual patterns under his control. It is not difficult to steal these spiritual patterns through the true destiny Daoji, because these spiritual patterns themselves are composed of information of eternal nature, but the information is combined and arranged in a magical order. If you want to learn them completely successfully, you must fully understand the information of these spiritual patterns. It takes time, Lin Yi thought. However, it is much easier to comprehend these spiritual patterns than to comprehend the true destiny. The journey was not long, and it took about 3 days. They passed through dozens of passages, experienced a large number of caves full of coffins, and came to an independent cave. The cave was not big, but there were 2 people in black guarding it. They had jade cards hanging around their waists and looked very indifferent. They should be members of the Holy Light Society. After several people came here, Lin Linzi came forward to negotiate the use of the teleportation array. The 4 people stood on the teleportation array, and a radiance of true power rose from their feet, and the entire teleportation array was lit up with a bright radiance. The next moment, they disappeared here. Lin Yi and others once again crossed a mysterious space-time channel, saw a large number of mysterious spaces, and then suddenly fell down. The next moment, they appeared on a teleportation array. The moment they landed here, the 4 people put on their respective alert states. From the moment they stepped into this place, there might be danger everywhere, and they needed to be vigilant at all times. Not only should they be wary of those mysterious monsters, but also of scavengers like them. They are called scavengers. In this endless mysterious land, they pick up all kinds of useful materials, just like ants. The things they pick up will be brought back to the Holy Light Society in exchange for useful materials. At this time, the place where they appeared was a dry plain with only black soil on the ground and no plants. The whole world was shrouded in a dead silence. There was only a dark sky above their heads. There was no light at all, not even a star. But unexpectedly, with their ordinary people's vision, they could also see objects hundreds of meters away. and it was very easy. This seemed to be some kind of rule that existed in this mysterious land. The voice of the final order system sounded again in Lin Yi's mind. Attention, binders. New task, search for all physical information of the death boundary and obtain information by touching. After completing the task, the binder will be able to obtain various abilities or items made by the information of the death boundary. Lin Yi heard this and just responded lightly. Okay. This mysterious final order system has become an alien parasite in Lin Yi's heart. He can complete the tasks issued by the other party within his ability, but he will not do them beyond his ability. He now has only one thought in mind, which is to expand the upper limit of the true power of the new 7 true destinies in his consciousness as soon as possible, and at the same time find a way to deduce the 7th true destinies to the level of 365 eternal properties. Only in this way can he truly face all dangers. They walked out of the teleportation array, and there was no one around and no danger. However, Lin Lindsay and the others did not relax. Everyone was running the true destiny and was ready to deal with possible dangers at any time. Lin Lindsay said, "Leave here first, the target is 10 kilometers away." As they said, they began to move quickly, shuttling between coffins. Everyone looked around vigilantly to prevent sudden attacks. Lin Yi's eyes flashed with the brilliance of the true destiny, and he kept an eye on the surroundings at all times. No danger could escape his observation. He is now a scout. About 10 minutes later, they came to an area 10 kilometers away from the teleportation array, far away from the location of the teleportation station. Lin Lindsay waved his hand slightly at this time. "Okay, it's safe here. Now let's divide the tasks. 2 people in a group, I'll go with Lin Yi, Mingming Er, and Nan Qizi, you 2 in a group." No one refused, and they began to move left and right. Lin Yi and Lin Lindsay walked to the east, and they began to open the coffins one by one. "Observe whether there is anything worth taking away." Lin Lindsay said, "I don't know where these coffins came from. The bodies inside are of various kinds. Some are naked, with nothing. Some are dressed neatly, and even have burial objects. But 99% of them are ordinary coffins with nothing." Lin Yi nodded. "Do you search these coffins often? What are the harvests?" Lin Lindsay nodded slightly. "The harvest can only be said to be ordinary. Basically, as long as you are lucky, you can get at least 1 month's worth of supplies at a time. But I once heard that someone found very precious treasures here. These treasures even allowed them to be taken into the Holy Light Society for training. But I don't know what the specific treasures are. We came here to try our luck and earn some money for supplies first. It will be very dangerous in another month." "Danger? What will happen in a month?" Lin Yi's heart moved, and he asked curiously. Lin Lindsay's face was solemn. "Will there be a dead wave in a month?" "Dead wave? What is that?" Lin Yi looked at him with some confusion. "The living dead in these coffins will be resurrected on a large scale, and then they will frantically look for any creature that has not died. Then they will kill us. They want to make us one of them. After the death wave, they seem to regain their sanity. Establish various camps in this area, and then participate in the eternal battlefield again and again. I once secretly observed. The fighting in the eternal battlefield is mainly a war between the human camp and other non-human camps. There seems to be a powerful organization between these camps that dominates everything. It is called the front line by these living dead. /U003C, //U003E. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1286. I have a guess that those organizations that control the war may be the Black Hands of Everything. Read. But I still can't figure out why they do this. A hint of gloom and terror appeared on Lin Linz's face. Lin Yi looked at him and carefully kept a distance from him. He felt that Lin Linzi in front of him seemed to be a little bit wrong, and his mental state seemed strange. With the brilliance of the true destiny in his eyes, he carefully observed Lin Linzi in front of him. As the other party spoke, he pushed open the coffin and looked for something inside. As he pushed open more coffins, he seemed to become more gloomy. It was as if something was slowly awakening in his mind. At this time, the voice of the final order system sounded slowly. Attention, Binder. It is found that the mysterious unknown existence is slowly coming. Try to contact Lin Linzi and collect information about the process of the mysterious existence coming. The task is completed and you will get the random transmission device again. Lin Yi frowned, thought about it, walked over, and slapped Lin Linzi on the back. Lin Linzi, what's wrong with you? The power of the true destiny and perseverance instantly enveloped Lin Linzi along with Lin Yi's hand. Lin Linzi's mind suddenly broke away from the strange changes, and he seemed to be a little confused and in a sluggish state. It seemed that Lin Yi had cut off his connection with a certain existence, and this sudden interruption made his mind fall into a trance without knowing it. Lin Yi saw this scene, but he was silent. At this time, the voice of the final order system in his mind sounded. Attention, Binder. You interrupted the arrival of the mysterious existence. A part of the mysterious existence stayed in Lin Linzi's body. The system has obtained some information samples of the mysterious existence. Random transmission device is being produced quickly, the time is 10 seconds. Prepare to leave immediately, the unknown existence has noticed the abnormality here and is rushing over. It will arrive in 15 seconds. Lin Yi listened to the continuous sound of the final order system, and a trace of solemnity appeared on his face. This is really troublesome. A trace of solemnity appeared in his eyes, and he took a deep breath. A little snooping will attract attention. The surveillance of this border of death is too strict. There was a trace of regret in his eyes. He originally wanted to get in touch with the Holy Light Society through this team, and even get into the interior to understand this mysterious organization and the border of death. Now it seems that it's not possible again. Countless thoughts flashed through his mind, and Lin Yi took a deep breath. But it's useless to continue hiding like this. Maybe I can try to confront them head on. There is a random teleportation device, at least it should be no problem to escape from here. Final order system, if I want to confront the mysterious existence head on, do I have a chance of winning? You have collected a lot of information. There should be some conclusions. 1 second later, the voice of the final order system answered in Lin Yi's mind. According to the information collected by the system, the unknown existences in the death boundary, the power they possess is derived from the true destiny, but it has not surpassed the true destiny. Their civilization should be a civilization based on the true destiny. The spiritual patterns they hold in their hands are countless, and they should have developed an unimaginable huge civilization. But for some reason, they can only appear in the form of possession by occupying other people's bodies. There may be some kind of restriction that forces them to do this. Based on this information, the system speculated that there are some rules in the death boundary that are restricting those unknown existences. However, this rule is most likely created by the forces represented by the unknown existence. The purpose may be to maintain the balance of the death boundary. The binder can try to fight with the possessed. If you win, the binder can try to grasp part of the essence of the possessed. It can help the system understand the death boundary more correctly. Listening to the answer of the final order system, Lin Yi nodded thoughtfully. He looked at Lin Linzi, who was in a weird state in front of him. He took a step over and grabbed Lin Linzi with a light palm. His hand flashed with the light of boundless destiny, and he grabbed Lin Linzi's heart directly. Just as he grabbed Lin Linzi's heart, the voice of the final order system sounded. The unknown existence is about to arrive. 3, 2, 1. The next moment, Lin Yi's eyes flashed with the light of the true destiny, and he saw a mysterious black wave appearing in Lin Lin's body. This wave was very mysterious, and it was directly connected to Lin Lin's true destiny the moment it appeared. Lin Lin's consciousness seemed to be controlled by this wave. Lin Lin's eyes instantly became bright, and just as he looked at Lin Yi, his heart suddenly hurt. You. Before he could say anything, he felt a black screen in front of his eyes, his heart was destroyed, and the body of this mortal died on the spot. Lin Lin's body softened and fell directly to the ground, unable to move. The next moment, this mysterious wave had disappeared from Lin Lin's body. The voice of the final order system sounded. Binders, please note that the unknown existence has come again. After the advent, this body will undergo unknown changes. Lin Yi narrowed his eyes slightly when he heard this. He squatted directly on the ground, and one of his hands flashed with the light of true destiny and inserted into the opponent's brain. He wanted to see how many times this mysterious existence could be killed. At this moment, a roar sounded behind him. What are you doing? An unparalleled knife light has already enveloped Lin Yi. Lin Yi looked behind him, where Nan Qizi and Ling Ling were looking at him with anger. Facing the oncoming attack, he did not dodge, and let this power envelope him, but it could not cause any harm to him. A calm voice slowly sounded in their ears. Someone wants to occupy his body, I am trying to save him. Hearing Lin Yi's words, the two who wanted to attack again stopped immediately. They showed horror on their faces and looked at Lin Yi in disbelief. What did you say? At this time, Lin Lin's body trembled slightly, and Lin Yi's eyes fell on Lin Lin's. He was surprised to find that the body that had been dead had returned to its original state the moment the mysterious wave descended, and all the damage seemed to have been repaired. A pair of cold eyes slowly opened, and the wave of true destiny flashed as if it was about to do something. But Lin Yi's voice rang in his ears. The house of everything I created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1287. It's best not to move, or you'll die. Read. The unknown being that descended, with Lin Yi's face reflected in his eyes, roared angrily. I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow Smoke GW. Who are you, how dare you? But before he finished, he felt a sharp pain in his head, and in an instant, his body lost its life again. Lin Yi thought, can this unknown being only choose one body to descend at a time? It's a bit strange no matter how you look at it. His face showed a thoughtful look, thinking about what was going on. He suddenly turned his head to look at Nan Qizi and Ling Ling, and he was surprised to find that the two had turned around and ran away. The corner of his mouth twitched slightly. This is running too fast, aren't you companions? When disaster strikes, everyone runs away. It's also a reality. The voice of the final order system sounded again. Attention, Binder, the unknown existence is coming for the third time. Lin Yi narrowed his eyes slightly when he heard this, and continued to look at the corpse in front of him. His hand was still in the other's brain. If there was a problem, he would kill him immediately. Now this death boundary has an advantage. Apart from the true life, it is just an ordinary flesh and blood body. It is easy to put it to death. But the true life itself is immortal and cannot be really killed. A few seconds later, the mysterious fluctuations came again. This time, the unknown existence opened his eyes, with anger flashing in his eyes, but looked at him with a hint of indifference. What do you want to do? Do you know that if you do this, you will usher in a monstrous disaster? Lin Yi looked at the current Lin Lindsay and showed a faint smile on his face. Can we talk now? Lin Lindsay looked at him with an extremely cold face. What do you want to talk about? Where exactly is the death border? Who are you? Why did a huge vortex appear on our planet, killing all the people, and then putting them into coffins and bringing them to this place? What exactly are you doing with these corpses? What is the essence? Lin Yi asked a lot of questions in one breath, observing the mysterious unknown existence in front of him. The unknown existence still had a cold face, looking at Lin Yi and sneered. A survivor under some loophole? You are really lucky. But sooner or later you will belong to us, and when you die, it will be the end of everything for you. Everything you have will become ours, and become a cornerstone and nourishment for us. He, I won't tell you all the questions you ask. Wait, you will die in the end, and I will come to take everything from you personally. The cold and evil voice kept ringing, and Lin Yi's face showed a trace of solemnity. Countless questions flashed through Lin Yi's mind. You seem to have used this body in all 3 of your descents. Is this the only body you can use? The unknown being's pupils shrank slightly when he heard Lin Yi's words. He sneered faintly, this is just a carrier I have. It's just that it's closest to you, so I'll use it to possess you. Lin Yi smiled when he heard that. You can only fool elementary school students with your level of speaking. Do you think I can't detect it? You should have no other body to control. Otherwise, you can completely resurrect through other bodies and then come to me again. I know very well that beings like you should be able to travel through time and space at the border of death very easily. The distance should not be too difficult for you, as long as you lock onto the target. But why don't you do this? There is only one reason, you can't do it. The unknown being listened to Lin Yi's analysis, his heart sank slightly, and the whole person was silent. Then if I completely destroy your body, can you still descend to the border of death? The unknown existence's face was gloomy. You can try. No need to try, I have determined your existence form in the border of death. Your real body cannot descend here, you can only enter the border of death by descending through consciousness or thinking and attaching to these bodies. This is most likely a special area created by you for a certain purpose. In such a place, your original body is not allowed to descend, because it will affect your ultimate goal. Once I destroy your body in this border of death, you will have to pay a huge price to find a brand new body again and descend here. Listening to Lin Yi's analysis, the face of the mysterious existence suddenly changed. His eyes condensed slightly. What do you want to do? Lin Yi smiled slightly. Of course I'm asking you questions. As long as you answer me, I will let you go and will not harm the body you have. The face of the unknown existence was uncertain, and he spoke slowly for a long time. I can only tell you some information, but you have to promise to let me leave. Lin Yi was slightly delighted when he heard this. Okay. As long as the information you tell me is valuable, I can let you go. Why should I believe you? Asked the mutated Lin Linzi. Lin Yi smiled slightly. You can only believe me, because the decision is in my hands. The unknown existence's face changed, anger flashed in his eyes, and finally took a deep breath. I hope you keep your promise. If you break it, I will definitely come to you again. No one can save you then. Listening to the threat of the unknown existence, Lin Yi smiled faintly. Then we'll talk about it then. The unknown existence looked indifferent and slowly said, everyone, their purpose of existence is for the future of the crowns. You are all the cornerstones of the crown's path to a stronger path. I am a servant of the crowns, serving them and managing the death border. I am surprised that you know the name of the death border. That's all, Lin Yi said with a little dissatisfaction. The unknown existence sneered coldly, I can only reveal this information. If I reveal too much, I will die. Do you think my body is more important, or this mere carrier is more important? Lin Yi smiled, in that case, goodbye. After saying that, he crushed his brain without waiting for the mysterious existence to speak. The moment the mysterious existence died, he stared at him with wide eyes, as if he was looking at him in disbelief. At the same time, in addition to shock, there was also a trace of boundless anger in his eyes. He had never been threatened and played with like this before. He was so angry. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1288. An ant-like existence actually dared to threaten him, and his anger was hard to suppress. Read. I will kill you, I will definitely kill you, just wait for me. Looking at the corpse whose head was crushed by him, Lin Yi's mouth showed a cold smile. He pointed a finger at the other person's head, and then the power of the true source of life expanded in an instant, turning the corpse into a statue. Raising his hand and waving it, a huge force split the stone-like man into pieces. At the same time, 2 items also fell into Lin Yi's hands. After doing everything, Lin Yi turned around and took a step out, shrouded in the glory of the boundless true destiny, and quickly disappeared here. Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. 10 seconds later, he had caught up with Ling Linger and Nan Qizi. When the two saw Lin Yi, they were all shocked and alert. Are you okay? Lin Yi nodded lightly. Let's go, the guy behind you might wake up at any time. Although he destroyed the body, he was not sure whether the body would return to its original state. After all, those unknown beings are so mysterious and unpredictable, and he is not surprised by anything they do. After Lin Yi finished talking to the two, he continued to go in the direction of the teleportation array. 2 items appeared in his hand. The hidden Ling and Lin Lin's sword. These are 2 spiritual pattern tools, and the spiritual patterns on them are worth learning. Nan Qizi and Ling Linger didn't care about anything else at this time, and hurriedly caught up with Lin Yi. Looking at the 2 spiritual pattern tools in his hands with appreciation, he had arrived at the teleportation array in the next moment. A piece of true power flowed out and was directly injected into the teleportation array under his feet. Lin Yi disappeared here in the glory of the teleportation array, and at the same time, a terrible thing happened. A series of majestic forces fell from the sky, sweeping everything directly. It was an unimaginable terrifying force. The amazing thing is that these forces did not destroy any coffin or the corpse inside. But everything else was being erased, including time and space. Ling Linger and Nan Qizi, who were chasing, were all scared and looked at the mysterious light behind them, which was connected to the sky and the earth. Finally, they jumped into the teleportation array at the critical moment, injected the power of truth, activated the power of the teleportation array, and disappeared on the teleportation array. The brilliance of the sky has also spread here, and in a breath, it has completely consumed this teleportation array, as if it had never existed. The brilliance lasted for dozens of seconds. When the brilliance disappeared, there was only a pure vacuum and countless coffins floating in the air. Then, a strange scene happened again. Under the coffins that were originally floating, countless black lands appeared again. They were still so dark, without any vitality, and looked like a dead land. This horrible scene, but no one saw it. The place where Lin Lindsay had buried the body was empty, as if his body had really disappeared. In a small underground cave, Lin Yi was the first to appear, followed by Ling Linger and Nan Qizi. The two looked like they had survived a catastrophe, and sat down on the ground the moment they walked out of the teleportation array. The 2 men in black guarding the teleportation array looked surprised when they suddenly returned. Why did you come back so soon? Hearing the question from the 2 men in black, Ling Linger smiled bitterly. We encountered the arrival of an unknown existence. Lin Lindsay fell. The 2 men in black looked slightly solemn when they heard this. The arrival of any unknown existence is extremely dangerous. They immediately came to the location of the teleportation array. There was a wonderful true light in the hands of the 2 people, and the next moment, the power permeated on the teleportation array disappeared directly, and then it was disassembled into 5 pieces. They bent down, quickly collected the 5 pieces of the teleportation array, and put them into a strange pocket. He looked at everyone. Okay, the teleportation array will be temporarily dismantled, and this base cannot be used within 3 years. Everyone nodded slightly. Ling Linger and Nan Qizi looked at Lin Yi and said, Let's leave here first. Lin Yi followed the two, and soon they entered an east road fork. Linglinger looked at Lin Yi and said, "Fellow Daoist Lin Yi, let's go our separate ways here. I'm sorry, because of Lingling's sacrifice, I want to take a break for a while. This is what I know about the location of the teleportation array owned by the Holy Light Group. It's a map of a few hundred kilometers around here, you can refer to it." He handed out a jade card and gave it to Lin Yi. Lin Yi took the jade card and looked at Linglinger and Nankiza. There was a hint of sadness in the eyes of these two people, and at the same time, they were a little distant from him. Lin Yi naturally understood that this was human nature. He smiled slightly, bowed to the two people and said, "Thank you for your help, we will see you later." After saying that, he turned around and walked towards another passage without any nonsense. Looking at Lin Yi's back as he left, Nankiza's eyes showed a trace of solemnity. Until Lin Yi disappeared, he looked at Linglinger. "Why did you let him go?" Linglinger's face flashed a bitter smile. "We don't know what happened at that time. Only people who have died once can be possessed. Of course we and Lin Lindsay have been partners for a long time. In this process, he never died. I suspect that he killed Lin Lindsay and attracted unknown existence. But there's number 100% guarantee. And this man killed the possessed person several times in a row. We don't know what happened here. But one thing is for sure, this person is very dangerous and not something we can mess with. It's best not to have any contact with him. The further away, the better." After listening to Lingling's words, Nankiza was silent for a moment and sighed. "I also guess that this person is very powerful and dangerous, and he will definitely be in a lot of trouble. Although there may be rewards in being with him, there are more dangers. It's the right choice for us to stay away from him. And by giving him the map, we have done our best. Let's go, let's find a safe place to rest first." Linglinger and Nankiza turned around and walked towards another passage. Lin Yi walked alone in the passage, with a trace of thought on his face. "Final order system, during the contact just now, did you collect any specific information about these unknown entities?" The cold voice of the final order system recalled in his mind. Based on initial contact and exploration revealed, the possessed life form is a certain kind of consciousness. The result is the same as the last test. This kind of consciousness comes with the help of some kind of power similar to the real life, and can completely control everything about the living dead on the border of death. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The House of Everything I Created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1289. Whether it is consciousness, soul, true life, or other things, they are all under the control of this power. Read. The borrowed true power. Preliminary observation shows that there are at least more than 3,000 kinds of true power in it. This is a method of using the combination of true life, and this true life covers the entire boundary of death. The result that can be determined is that the main structure of the entire death boundary is composed of true life. This is a huge space composed of the real life and the living dead, and the level of danger is difficult to predict. And the existence that descends should be some of the monitors behind this true world. The people behind the scenes should be a huge organization, with monitors in the organization, and a higher level existence, the crown. Bound ones, please be careful as you continue to explore, because any existence around you may be a monitor, or even the black hand of everything. According to the information collected on the eternal battlefield, essence seems to be a wonderful force that emerges in the evolution of this true world. It is also one of the purposes of the evolution of the real-life world. Beyond that, more results cannot be further deduced due to insufficient information. After receiving the information from the final order system, Lin Yi took a deep breath, with a trace of thought in his eyes. Essence, This is a good thing. I have to find a way to get more of it to strengthen my own true life system. There are hundreds of millions of true lives on the earth. I still need to continue to deduce a more perfect true life. I've been running around here and there for a while, so I need to find a way to take a good rest. Thinking of this, a mysterious jade token appeared in Lin Yi's hand. When his mind entered it, he instantly saw a huge underground map, covering at least several hundred kilometers in radius. The passages extend in all directions, but what is really useful are the places with flashing light spots, 5 in total. One of them was exactly where he had just come out. There was also the place where Lin Lindsay and the others took him to in the first place. Taking a deep breath, Lin Yi looked in 3 other directions. Those 3 light spots are far away from here, basically reaching the boundary of this map. Nankizi and the others probably don't want to meet me again, so they should go somewhere further away. Thinking of this, Lin Yi rushed out instantly. He was very fast, covering hundreds of meters in a flash, and he was getting faster and faster. After less than 10 minutes of progress, the sound of the final order system suddenly sounded. Please note that the latest information will be captured and displayed. In the real world, a scan will be launched every 24 hours. The scan will look for any anomalies in the real world. Once discovered, unknown existences will arrive but are nearby abnormal existences, and targeted killings will be carried out. You have to be careful, there are still 10 hours until the next scan. The reward for the mission just contacted has been completed. This reward can hide one's own existence and avoid being locked by unknown existence. The maintenance time is a quarter of an hour. As the system sound fell, a mysterious cube appeared in Lin Yi's mind. Lin Yi thought of the time when he was inexplicably scanned and locked after entering the underground cave. So that's what happened. It's really unlucky. Having this thing will prevent you from locking in once, good thing. After about a few minutes, Lin Yi arrived at the target location along the winding passage. At the end of a small passage, there is a cave entrance. There were 2 men in black standing at the entrance of the cave, with jade tokens hanging on their waists. Their eyes caught Lin Yi. Who? With a smile on his face, Lin Yi cupped his hands and said, Lin Yi, a casual cultivator, hopes to seek shelter inside. The 2 men in black nodded slightly, and one of them took out a mirror. To get into it, you have to be inspected. Let go of your mental thoughts. Lin Yi nodded slightly and refused, letting the 2 of them look at him in the mirror. A strange light burst out from the mirror and enveloped him instantly. Lin Yi could see the wonderful spiritual patterns flashing on the mirror, which were composed of eternal information one after another. At this time, these spiritual patterns were combined in a wonderful way, triggering a lifelike power. This mirror is composed of 99 and 81 spiritual patterns, and its power is amazing. However, its role seems not to be in combat, but in observation. Soon Lin Yi showed a pure blue light in the mirror. The 2 nodded slightly after looking at it. Go in, this is your first time here, you can rest for 24 hours, and then you must leave. Next time you come here, you have to pay various materials or other treasures to enter here. Lin Yi smiled slightly, I understand. The 2 of them got out of the way, and Lin Yi walked in a few steps. Inside was a small cave of about 30 square meters. There were about 7 or 8 people in the cave, all leaning against the mountain wall with tired faces. Some people were eating something, some were resting and sleeping, and some were wiping the swords in their hands. Everyone was silent, no one spoke, and they gathered in groups of 2s and 3s. There were only 2 or 3 lone rangers like Lin Yi. Lin Yi randomly found a place to sit down, and then began to observe his surroundings. His eyes were shining with the light of true destiny. During this period of stay, he had to find a way to learn the hidden method. Since this place can exist for a long time, there must be some kind of power that can shield the detection of unknown existence. With the brilliance of the true destiny in his eyes, Lin Yi's mind fell into deep thought. Crowns. They should be the beings who created the true destiny world. According to that person's confession, they want to become more powerful. First of all, it's the essence. This thing is useful to me, and it may also be useful to those crowns. Besides that, it's hard to say what else they can get from this world. At present, I want to upgrade the second set of true destiny system, and only the eternal battlefield is possible. But if you go there, you will be discovered if you collect too much essence. So you must take concealment measures to prevent them from locking. Then the spiritual patterns of this shelter must be fully understood. Find a way to transform them into my own spiritual patterns. Thinking of this, his eyes became more solemn, and he began to analyze the spiritual patterns of the shelter bit by bit. Time passed slowly, and it was 24 hours in a blink of an eye. Lin Yi's gains here were huge. Taking advantage of the fact that his true destiny would be fully restored every half an hour, he devoted himself to the great cause of spying. He discovered that these spiritual patterns did not appear out of thin air, but required a special carrier. The spiritual patterns themselves were not difficult to comprehend, they were just eternal in nature. With his current understanding of the true destiny, there was no problem in observing them. The real difficulty lies in the object that can carry the soul, which is a special substance. The house of everything I created. Author, Yinian Luan Tianji. Chapter 1290. In this special material, he even saw traces of essence. Read. Using various materials and essences as materials, combined with eternal information, to construct spiritual patterns, and then construct the spiritual pattern system to finally achieve the effect of simulating true life. Under his observation, he has learned all the hidden spiritual patterns in this small shelter. As I write this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network Rightward Arrow. There are a total of 365 spiritual patterns involved in this shelter, forming 49 wonderful formation eyes, large and small. Each formation eye is composed of 365 spiritual patterns. In the end, these 49 formation eyes resonate with each other, forming a powerful isolation force that can isolate all searches. This is a formation composed of spiritual patterns, which requires basic strength to promote it. According to Lin Yi's observation, there is a true life in each formation eye. The true life exudes a faint power of truth and drives the operation of the entire formation. Seeing this scene, he felt cold all over. What does that mean? It means that this formation is driven by people. This is true life, and it should be taken from the bodies of those people. This method is quite powerful. The 365 spiritual patterns are both a formation and a cage that traps the true life. The true power can also be forcibly extracted to promote the operation of the entire formation. This method is really dark, holy light group. Ha ha ha, I'm afraid it's also dark down there. After seeing the truth of this mysterious formation, Lin Yi no longer had any hope for this so-called holy light group. In the eyes of this group, I am afraid that all living people are their material. Even his true life must be used. This kind of cruelty can be understood just by looking at it. After Lin Yi collected all the information, he stood up and left. When the two men in black at the door saw him leaving, one of them took out a special jade book. This is the special identity book of the Holy Light Group. You input a trace of true power into it, and your information will be there next time you go to any stronghold. Lin Yi looked at the identity book handed over by the two people. They had opened a new page. This page is blank, you only need to enter a trace of true power. Lin Yi nodded when he heard the words, raised his hand and kept tapping it, injecting a trace of true power. Immediately afterwards, a humanoid pattern appeared on the blank jade album, which looked like Lin Yi. From now on, when you go to any Holy Light Group stronghold, you only need to look at it with a precious mirror to know your identity. At that time, you only need to pay certain supplies to enter the shelter. After explaining everything, the two got out of the way, and Lin Yi nodded and walked out. Less than a few seconds after Lin Yi left, two more figures walked out of the shelter. The two men had the same appearance, and seemed to be twins. Their eyes were gloomy, and their bodies were filled with a murderous aura. After leaving the shelter, they chased straight in the direction where Lin Yi disappeared, obviously with evil intentions. Lin Yi walked very fast in the passage, one step was tens of meters, and a few seconds was hundreds of meters. Two black figures behind him had quickly followed. One of them holds a token, which emits a black light. This radiance was very strange, covering the two of them directly, causing their speed to soar, like some kind of spatial teleportation, moving forward in a flash. About a few minutes later, they had caught up with Lin Yi, only 10 meters away from him. Lin Yi also felt the inexplicable murderous intention coming from behind, and turned to look behind him with a silent expression. Two figures stood there, looking at him with evil intentions. Lin Yi looked at them with a weird smile on his face. "Haha, what do you two want to do?" The twins in black robes stared at Lin Yi, and the leader said with a cold expression, "Hand over the spiritual weapon on your body, and we can let you go." Lin Yi thought of the two spiritual patterns he took from Lin Linzi, and a faint smile appeared on his face. It turned out to be robbery. "I didn't expect such a thing to happen in a place like this." The other one of the two said coldly, "It's the same everywhere, it's just the jungle of the jungle." These two people are named Li Xiankong and Li Taidu, and they are twins. I don't know where they came from. The two of them have always acted together. The weight never leaves the scale, and the scale never leaves the weight. Each of these two people is a strong man who has mastered a true life. At the same time, they each also have two spiritual weapons, which they obtained at a huge cost. They would also carry out robberies on weekdays, but they were shrewd and would only choose suitable targets. Most of them were people who had just come to the border of death and knew nothing. This kind of person is not very powerful, and although he gains little, there is no risk. The reason why they found Lin Yi this time was because they saw the spirit pattern weapon on his body, and it was a spirit pattern weapon that had not been refined, so the two of them got interested. Lin Yi naturally didn't know the cause and effect of all this, but he knew that trouble was coming. Li Taidu said with a cold face, "Brother, stop talking nonsense to him and do it. Get it early and go back early." Li Xiankong nodded, and a black bell rose above his head, and a true power poured into it. A mysterious bell rang slowly, and the black bell began to tremble violently, and a wave of waves rushed towards him. This power went straight to the heart, and it seemed to destroy his heart in an instant. Lin Yi caught the effect of this power. The power of the true destiny and perseverance was running, and he was directly immune to this attack. But his face became confused in an instant, as if he was affected by this power. A black light flashed under Li Taidu's feet, and when he appeared again, he had come to Lin Yi. He pointed a finger at him, and his fingertips were filled with pure distortion. True destiny chaos can make everything fall into chaos, lose order, and finally go to destruction. This finger fell directly on Lin Yi, and Li Taidu's face showed an extremely happy smile, and everything was at hand. The next moment, a hand had already pressed on his chest silently. Then, the power of the true destiny root broke out in an instant. On Li Taidu's face, the smile was directly stiff, and a terrifying true destiny root enveloped him in an instant. His body was rapidly petrified, and the violent true destiny chaos bloomed from his body. It seemed that he wanted to defeat the source of his true destiny, but now at least half of his body was turned into a stone statue. His true destiny chaos could not restore his damaged body, and he could only expel the source of his true destiny. A ray of light shrouded in the chaos of true destiny flew out of his body and pounced on Li Xiankong. An angry thought echoed, "Brother, avenge me, this guy has several true destinies, and he was just pretending to be stupid.